I landed 5 internship roles in London in the space of 2 months. Now, how did I do this? First of all, let me give you a little bit of background. I am a Loughborough University student studying finance and management on a 3-year course. My course has been extended to a 4-year course because it has an integrated year in industry, commonly called a gap year. In this gap year, you can either choose to study abroad or you can choose to do industrial placement. An industrial placement is typically a 12, 13 or even a 14-month internship working in industry all across the country. It could be in the UK or it could be abroad. Now, I have always been really bad at interviews, yet I still managed to land myself 5 industrial placement roles at high-paying, top-tier banks across London. Now, as I'm sure you're all familiar, securing an internship is not easy. There's a lot of competition and you have to go through the grueling process of finding the job, going through their mock assessments, and finally going through the interview. Now, I'm going to break this video down into 3 parts. Firstly, I'm going to talk about where I found the roles which I applied for and what I thought was best. Secondly, I'm going to go through the best resources I used to try and prepare for these mock assessment centres and how I really prepared for these interviews so that I was confident in what I was saying. So without further ado, let's get into where I found these job roles. So where did I find my industrial placements? Where are the best places to look? Now, there are lots of different places to find jobs. You've got the common one known as Indeed, you've got LinkedIn, you've got Rate My Placement, you've got Graduate Jobs. There is so many places to find jobs, but you're applying for an internship or an industrial placement and you want to go somewhere specific, somewhere where they're updating the job board daily. Now, with internships, they're extremely competitive. You want to be one of the first ones to apply and you want to have a good application. So going to a platform which is only uploading internship roles for people our age is the place you want to be. And my favourite one when I was applying for my industrial placement roles was one of twofold. The first one was Rate My Placement. Rate My Placement have everything from summer internships, spring internships, insight days, industrial placements, and off-cycle placements as well. They really had everything you could look for. And you had loads of different filters which you could apply. You could apply when it was last uploaded, the different companies, you can go for a manual search, you can look at the industry. It really had everything you needed. And then when you clicked into the job role, it gave you all the information, it gave you the salary, it gave you the link to the website. And the good thing about Rate My Placement was it was constantly updated. It was updated every single day. So typically I would wake up in the morning when I was applying to these industrial placement roles and I'll just quickly refresh from the night before and see what's new, what do I need to apply for, and therefore Rate My Placement was really my favourite one. Now secondly, an unhidden resource and only accessible to people who are at university is the university job board. Now with Loughborough University, they have certain partnerships with certain companies and therefore that company will offer a specific internship to only Loughborough University students, and this would typically be on their university job board, and you typically would not see these sorts of jobs anywhere else on any other platforms, and this is why this is a hidden gem, and this was really good, just like Rate My Placement. Now, the ones which I would recommend staying away from is LinkedIn and Indeed. The reasons for this is because it's not updated daily with the internships. Typically companies don't post on Indeed when it comes to internships, so I'll try and stay away from that. Now you've found the role which you want, you've applied with your CV and cover letter, and you are presented with these assessments that you've got to do. Now these assessments are typically very, very difficult because these large companies need to try and filter down as many people as possible so that they can look at the CV and cover letter of the top quality candidates, and this is why they give you these assessment centres. Now practicing for these assessments are vital because typically someone who does not practice for these assessments will fall at the first hurdle and won't even make it to the interview and won't even get your CV or cover letter read, and it'll be a total waste of time. And this is where you really need to practice for these assessments. Now I used 2 resources, one was paid, one was free, but they were absolutely amazing for helping me secure my 5 internship roles. The first one was Job Test Prep, the second one was Graduates First. Now let's just dive into Job Test Prep first. This is a really good platform because it has lots and lots of different assessments, different types of assessments which you could do in order to apply for your internship. And not only that, they even have company specific. For example, HSBC and Morgan Stanley, they have very particular assessments, and And using this platform, you can get a feel for what it's going to be like in the real thing. And as a result, you'll be more confident going into the assessments, you'll feel like you know what you need to do, and you have a much higher rate of passing. Now, the only downside with job test prep is you do have to pay quite a lot of money. Now, what I did was I split it with a bunch of friends, which significantly reduced how much it cost. And this is where Graduates First is a brilliant platform. Graduates First is free. It doesn't have as many tests, but they also have their specific ones for the companies, and also sometimes, like my university, they provided the logins for free. So we managed to get access. So definitely check with your university if you can access Graduates First. And I really recommend making sure you use one of these resources, because you will find it vital and so much easier going into the final stage, the interview. And moving on to the final stage, the stage which everybody hated, including myself, the interview. Now, interviews are really hard to master because not only do you need to be saying the right things, understanding the company, but you also want to be trying to make some sort of connection with the person on the other end of the phone. You don't want to sound like a robot, but you also don't want to sound as if you're too much of their friend. And this was quite difficult to do. And there isn't really many other ways to practice for interviews other than just generally trying to talk to as many people as possible and being as social as possible too. But there is a shortcut way. There is a way to make yourself come across as if you know what you're talking about. And the best way is to prepare for these 3 questions which come up in every single interview. Now, I probably did over 25, maybe even 30 different interviews. This was because I applied to a lot of roles. This is also because in each role, they would have lots of different interview stages. It could be in the assessment center, it could be with initial HR. There was lots of different interview stages to go through, but there was 3 common questions which always came up. The first one was, what do you know about the company? Now, I would really recommend you doing some in-depth research into the company. Know what they do, know about the recent news that's happened in the company, and try and get some inside knowledge into the company. And the best way to do this is to go onto LinkedIn, connect with someone, and ask for a little phone call. I mean, quite a lot of people are willing to do this, and it's really easy because then you can ask questions about the work-life culture, you can ask really specific questions about the company, and you can get an understanding for if you're going to like working here. So that's the first thing I'd recommend doing. Now, the second thing is really understand the role that you're applying for. In my interviews, I was asked in detail, what is it about this role which you like? What do you think you'll be doing? Make sure you really understand the role, because it looks like you're coming across way more confident and you'll have a higher success rate. And finally, a question which I was asked a lot was, why are you best suited for the role? What skills and experiences have you had which makes you better than all the other candidates that are applying for this role? And this is quite difficult to try and figure out. Now, the best thing that I would recommend doing is looking through the job description, pulling out lots of different keywords, lots of different things which you'll be doing in the role, and trying to link this with the skills and experiences from your CV, from your cover letter, which link in really, really nicely. Now, an example would be in the job description, it says, have good computational skills. Now, if you've worked in Excel previously quite a lot in university or in an internship that you had before, or even at home, you could link this in and say, I used Excel quite a lot, I understand how it's used, and I believe this will apply quite nicely to this role because of X, Y, Z. Those sorts of things show that you thought about the role, thought about your skills and experiences, and how you can benefit the firm, and why this would be a good relationship to have, why you would be the best candidate for the company. That's my tips on the interview stage. Now, if you follow all of these tips, from where to find the jobs, how to train for them for the assessment centers, and how to train for the interviews, you will definitely land internships like I did. Now, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content on how to land these internships. Thanks for watching.